Remember how I said I wanted to make the trees when I first started thinking about using clay? I wanted to get the dimension in the trees. So we're going to kind of talk about how we use that clay to do that. So we're going to set that over there, and I'm going to bring in one that I've already added a couple of limbs on, and I'm going to take my QuikWood and I'm going to roll it, and I'm going to roll it from a fat end to a little end. And the great thing that I forgot to mention about QuikWood is you don't have to glue it on. You just simply set it onto your piece and you start to push it. Now see how I've got that real fat part down by the bottom of the tree, and I've got the center. Now remember, branches are not even. I'm going to get a little bit of vegetable oil on my fingers here because you have your fingerprints on the branch or the clay, so we want to smooth that out, and by doing that we're also putting that in. I had that little tip break off. I'm just going to put that little guy back on and just continue on working. Now to make the holes, I forgot an item, so I'm going to reach down and grab it. That's the great thing about home videos. I can do whatever I want in them. And we're going to, this is a Miriam Joy wax design tool, and to put that hollow into that tree, we're simply just going to go like that. Isn't that nice and fun and easy? I am going to use one of my wax tools. You can also use your hobby knife, and I do have these available, and I'll show you what the pack looks like. But we're going to make our lines in our tree. Remember, trees are not perfect, so you don't want your lines and everything to be perfect. In fact, the kind of more uneven they are, the more they look like nature if you walk outside and look at it. But see how that really starts to come to life there. And then if you'll notice, I just rolled smaller twigs and started adding them onto the end of the bigger trees wherever I wanted those. I would mix up another batch of QuikWood and just keep on working, but like I said before, only work with the little bit that you're working with, and you'd rather be able to add more and keep on going. So we've talked about the tree. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the leaves and how we get that kind of look. When I first started doing this leaf pot, I went and started to do, again, excuse me one second, like I said, this is the great thing about home videos, I can reach over and grab it. I went to the computer and I Googled oak leaves. Now this is just wax paper that I'm using, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray just a small amount on my hands. You don't really want to spray it directly onto your paper because you want the clay to still stick to your gourd, but you don't want it to stick to your wax paper, so we're just kind of lightly coating that. So once I went to the computer and saw what kind of shape the leaves were, I came in and I'm going to make it a little bit up and down, and I'm going to fold my wax paper and I'm going to roll it. This is just a little dowel roller, and we do have those available if you don't have access to one. And I am just simply rolling that out. It doesn't matter which side it sticks to, I just have that roll. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to cut it out. And again, if you do not want to do this with your tools, you can also do this with a hobby knife as well, and it'll give you that nice clean edge. And remember, each leaf is different. Each one has a different shape and a different look and a different color. Nature is always different. So I have made the shape of my leaf that I want. I'm going to have this being the top, and when you do that, you just simply set it where you want it on the gourd. And the reason we put it on the wax paper is so that you don't lose the shape of the gourd, or excuse me, of the leaf or whatever you've done when you try to pick it up and move it. You just simply rub it onto your gourd and it just stays just like that. Now we've got some little rough edges. We're just going to come in here. Now what I like is, because I've got different tools, I use a wax design tool and I come in and I give it some depth here, and we can put in some lines. And of course, as you're working at home, we've got probably a little dog here. It's one of the great things about working out of our studio. That makes it more homey, right? And wherever you want those. And the really neat thing I like about this is pushing these leaves up on the side, and you can really add nice dimension to that. And you can also, instead of pull it, kind of roll it down as well. Now to do my lines, you can either cut it in with your wax design tool. One of my favorite things to use is a laminated business card. And we won't tell the owner of this card that we're using it, she'll never know. And because you can just push it the whole way. And so I'm just coming back into those lines that I did earlier, and I'm just pushing those in. You can add more lines if you want to, whatever you want to do. So there's another really neat thing that you can do with a leaf. If you wanted to make the leaf stick out, you would let the QuikWood dry a little bit longer, and you would kind of let it stick however you wanted it to hold out, and then it would hold that form as it starts to get harder on you. So that's a really neat thing that you can do with the QuikWood as well. I'm also going to show you how we do the packages on the Christmas tree with the QuikWood as well. When you have the little piece left over from the last batch that we used, cut a new piece and just work it into your QuikWood. That way you don't waste any, and it actually makes it a little bit more pliable so you can keep on going. You can also use a little bit of paint extender for like acrylic paints that'll let it last a little bit longer. The great thing is if you put that leaf on or did something you didn't like it, you just peel it off and you start again. So now I'm simply going to roll it back into a ball, and we're going to decide what kind of shape present we want, whether we want it tall and slender, fat and short, however we want it to go. We're going to put it back into our wax paper again, and we're going to roll it again with our little dowel roller. And got kind of a square shape going here. Now this is not my business card. This happens to be like a credit card. This is actually a hotel key, and no, I'm not advertising for Pizza Hut, that I use because it's thick enough that I can take and push my present on the sides to get it into the form that I want it to go. This is kind of being ornery on me here. I'll hold it down with my hand a little bit. But you just keep working it back and forth until you get that square look that you want. And we would come in here and rub it a little. So I've got that more square. So I'm going to bring that over to the gourd we're working with. And say we just wanted to place this under the tree. We would just put our package under the tree like we talked about, rub that off, it goes right onto your gourd. And then I come in again with my business card, and I am going to put some ribbons on it. And I just simply walk it from one end down to the other, and then we're going to walk it across again, and I'll turn that around and show you in a minute. I know I can't do that. And see how that just puts the ribbons on there? I would just roll some other little ribbons and put them up on top, but how that adds such dimension to that. I'm going to show you one other thing real quick here, is how to use cookie cutters also as well. And you can add the cookie cutters to anything. I happen to use the cookie cutter to add the star on top of the tree. So just by using that cookie cutter, I don't have to worry about getting that shape exactly perfect. So that's another reason that I use the cookie cutters. And cookie cutters come in all kinds of fun shapes and everything. So there's all kinds of little ones, but don't forget the big ones. You can use the big ones just as well. I have a large snowflake that I want to put onto a gourd and then put wax snowflakes around it. So we're simply going to roll this one more time, and you want this big enough that your cookie cutter can fit into it. So I rolled that out. We're going to open that up, and I'm going to spray my cookie cutter so that it doesn't stick to my cookie cutter. And I'm simply going to place it into there, and you're going to remove all of the excess clay around it, and see how you have that nice neat star. And usually it sticks right there, so we would do the same thing. You would put it where you want it. I'm going to pretend that we want to put this up on the top of our tree. Try and get it where you can see it a little bit here. I'm going to put it on the end of this branch just so that you can play with it or kind of know how we get it there. And there it is. And that tree, that is really went on really well. I don't really have to move it or adjust. If you did, use your little cards that we were talking about, or some of your clay tools. One of the fun things with the clay tools is they have some, this one has kind of a cut line, I guess you would call it. So if you come in here and add that to the star, you can see I'm just working it down. And then I would come in and let's add some more lines in here. Let's add one in between each one of those. See how fun that is? You can actually take beads and put your beads and just sink it into your clay as well, and you don't have to glue them on or anything. And remember, this is going to be rock hard in an hour, so get your work done and, you know, don't mess around. And that is how we do that part of it. So in just a second, I'm going to show you a different product and how we add color to it as well.